What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Ryan as we break down the 6-game NBA DFS slate for Tuesday. Let's just start breaking down a little bit of this slate. We got Joel Embiid, who was smashing, and then I got smashed because I was so sad because he didn't end up playing the fourth quarter. They completely blew out Dallas. Luka Doncic has no ceiling anymore. That's unenjoyable. Philly played some pretty decent defense on him there, and also he had 2 air balls. That was unfun. Rinpack, how's your night going?
It's going, we'll see. It's tough to see how my night's going. I was pretty high on Steph Curry and Nikola Jokic, both who I thought could put up a monster performance in a matchup against each other. So I'm looking forward to what that outcome can be. Hopefully I'm on the good side of that. But in a slate where it was tough to find any legitimate value and have some confidence in, where we had to pivot onto late news of Mo Harkless. And with the Najee Marshall moving to the bench, so there was a lot of value heading into lock, was shifted around. So we shall see who ends up in the winning lineups tonight.
Hopefully it's Mo Harkless, and I didn't get to a ton of Wes Iwundu. That would be absurd, but I got to a ton of Daniel Tice then. Basically took 70% Najee that I had on DK and made it 35 and 35. But, such is life in DFS. Yeah, we needed to punt somewhere because you didn't actually need to punt. I just screwed up and probably should have been lighter on him to begin with. But who knows? We're going to find out once we get off this show. But guys, as we get down to business here, get down to that bottom bar yourself. Hit the like button if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. That goes a long way for us. And hit that notification bell so you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo is going live. We are sponsored by MonkeyKnifeFight.com. Monkey Knife Fight is where we have prop-based gaming. All you have to do is log on. You can access any of the sports that they have: NBA, MLB, NHL, UFC. They've got golf stuff coming out. A Hilton Head happening this weekend, which is just so fun. Such a fun little golf course out in South Carolina. Lots of edges to be had, but lots of prop-based games that you can play over there. So head over to monkeyknifefight.com and start partying. Rinpack, are you ready to party, my dude?
Let's ride.
I don't know why I stammered there, but here we are. Going to the top end of point guard on DraftKings, of course. Damian Lillard, 9,500. So we don't have any of those 10K guys to pay up for here on DK. That's nifty. Donovan Mitchell, 9,400. Utah going up against OKC. Now they're on a back-to-back here, so that ought to be interesting. I think that one's going to be pretty close here. I mean, Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal just went off in that first half. We'll see how that game ends up being, see how Utah ends up doing on the back-to-back here. And then Trae Young with a nice little Q mark next to his name. He is truly questionable with a calf injury. It's a big piece of news that we'll be waiting on, but fortunately, it's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. The lock time for the Atlanta-Toronto game should be one that we have a lot of interest in. Talk to me about the top end of point guard.
Yeah, top end of point guard. You got to look at Dame and Trae over there. Both are in a good spot, especially for Trae Young against Toronto. Trae Young has been up and down of late, but there's been some super ceiling performances. He's played Toronto twice this year. He's gone north of 50 fantasy points both times. So I think 9-1 Trae. I do prefer that off of a 9-5 Dame. It's been a while since we've seen a Dame super ceiling performance. It could definitely happen against Boston. So that's definitely in play. But I really like Trae Young with all things put together. I like pivoting off of Donovan Mitchell to both of these guys on the point guard position on DraftKings. And if you want to spend down on DraftKings before I hop over on FanDuel, it's tough to really find anyone of value on the point guard slate over there. I think Kyle Lowry makes for a fine $7,400 option. This Toronto team is desperate for some dubs. So I think Kyle Lowry's going to try to carry this team on his back and hopefully find themselves in the play-in picture in the East. But over there on FanDuel, I love going to Trae and Dame Lillard over there, 8-9, 8-8. Both is way too cheap for both of them. You got to have interest in both of those guys, and spending up to them makes for a ton of sense. Honestly, you could have a three-point guard pool tomorrow. I won't even fault you. Just Lowry, Trae, and Dame, and just try to mix and match everywhere else.
Yeah, Dame coming off the worst game of his entire NBA career. I'm pretty sure that that's a fact. Looking at... Wow, 18.7 is what it ended up being. I knew it was bad, but 36 minutes, 18.7 from Dame. I don't think he's a point 0.5 fantasy point per minute player. That's just my personal opinion. It's also called Data's personal opinion. So I really like going to Dame Lillard at that price tag now that he's underneath 9K. We kind of knew it was coming, but it's nice to finally have it be here. Curious for LA on this back-to-back. We ended up getting Kuzma playing. We ended up getting Schroeder playing. We ended up getting all that news that made it difficult to want to play any of those Lakers. We'll see if on a back-to-back if they end up resting anybody. But Charlotte is a nice matchup to be targeting. Only, what was it for Schroeder tonight? 28.6 in 36 minutes. That's not probably going to get it done, but depending on who might be there and who might not be there, definitely still a spot to have a little interest in. Curious what you think on the bottom end here over on FanDuel. Somebody that kept popping up in random crunches for me today, and I just capped him and was like, yeah, I'm just going to get 1%, is Cameron Payne. Like, if we're on a 6-game slate, so this is a little bit smaller slate, and you're trying to target a ceiling somewhere underneath 5K to win a GPP, I think Goran Dragic 4,800 is just kind of a little bit too expensive for his role on this team now. But like Edmund Sumner, Alex Caruso, Cameron Payne, who would you kind of be taking a shot on underneath 4,600 over on FanDuel?
It's a bit tough down there, but I think under 4,600, I don't mind 20 minutes of Rajon Rondo, honestly. In a matchup versus Indiana, I think those guys are all fine considerations that you mentioned, and there's a pathway for those guys to do pay off that salary. But I think Rondo would have the highest ceiling.
Okay, I like you a lot for that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 4K there, and then obviously if you get Trae Young out, Brandon Goodwin is going to be the highest owned player on the slate, right?
Potentially, yeah. It's I mean, there could be a ton of other news that opens up, but he would definitely enter the chalk realm of things.
Yeah, 37 minutes last time out, 33 fantasy points without Trae. That seems like something I would want. Let's go to the top end of shooting guard over on FanDuel. We're going to fly through this today. Just 6 games. It's good times had by all. Devin Booker, 9,500 going up against Miami. That's a big number to be paying up against Miami. You're paying the full freight for him there. Donovan Mitchell, 9,200. Love his ceilings of late. We'll see how he finishes up tonight. We'll see how everybody ends up being health-wise going into this back-to-back because, continuing to have Jordan Clarkson out is a good thing for all of those guys. Paul George, 9K up against Indiana. Like that as well. And then Karis LeVert, all the way up to 8,300 now. My goodness. He's pretty good at basketball. I think we all thought that. Definitely showing off a little bit here for Indiana. 55.5 last time out. 34 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, and 4 stocks total. Nifty stuff. Talk to me about the top end of shooting guard.
Yeah, top end of shooting guard over there on FanDuel. It's tough not for me to have a ton of interest in Paul George. No Kawhi Leonard. Up against Indiana, where he played a ton of his career at. A lot of his really good basketball highlights are over there at Indiana. It's been a while since he's played at Indiana. The last time he played was of December of 2019 at Indiana. He put up 60 FanDuel points, and then a game before that, he put up 50 FanDuel points. So he does play with a chip on his shoulder, I want to say. And you're going to have to project him for quite a bit of performance without Kawhi. So I like going to Paul George at that 9K price tag over there on FanDuel, pivoting off of guys like Mitchell, Booker. LeVert is a little too expensive, but in a matchup against the Clippers, a little back and forth action. I wouldn't fault you if you want to go there. If you want to spend down options over there on FanDuel, it's going to be tough to really have any interest in a ton of guys.
FanDuel pricing is good.
Yeah, they've been listening to the slate starter, I bet.
I think they have. Taylor Horton Tucker 6,500 is a little irrational, but I like the spirit there. I like what they're trying. Like they're like, we're gonna overprice people. What a fun concept.
Yeah, I think it helps when pricing is like this. It really makes you forced to be automatically, organically force your lineups to be different, and which makes the game a lot more fun. And I think going to other guys like that in Devontae Graham versus the Lakers could work out for you. One of the OKC guards. Tyler Hero in a tough Phoenix matchup will be contrarian, but we saw a nice game from him the other night. And we'll see what happens in the Utah situation. Ingles could be in play again, but Terrence Mann is someone who could spike an upside. I know we didn't see it last game, but it could happen tomorrow. But looking over there on DraftKings, spending up for Paul George will be a priority for me. It's tough not to do that. Jaylen Brown in a matchup versus Portland, I'll have a ton of interest. Levert, $7,500. We saw an upside game from all the Pacers players. I don't expect Levert to go 14 and 20 from the field again, but we see that's the upside of him. He doesn't need to go 14 and 20 to pay out that price tag. He can get involved in many other ways, but spending down on DK, some value options. I think Devontae Graham's in play again. And pricing on both sites right now, the way things stand, pretty nice job on the shooting guard position. Really finding it tough to have interest in anyone on 4K and under outside of Luke Kennard, who could put up a nice number in 24 minutes if you were to get that against the Pacers.
See, these are the slates I think you and I kind of smash because we're happy to take some shots on guys 3,200 and under, maybe trying to get 22 points out of Torrey Craig. Can Torrey Craig get there tomorrow at the shooting guard position?
That's tough.
That was sarcasm. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, no, that's really tough to ask for from Torrey Craig.
On a slate like that tomorrow, if there's no value opening up, he doesn't need to put up 30. He could be good enough for 20, and he's done that for me in the past when he's putting up 20. So I can't blame you considering Torrey Craig at that price tag. You're gonna have to spend down somewhere if you want to get some studs in your life. So Torrey Craig has been getting those minutes steadily of late. He's kind of taken the Abdel Nader role in the on the team, and Torrey Craig at times in Denver had shown an upside when he would pick up steals and whatnot. And he's an excellent defender, not known for his offense, but there is a pathway for him to play well. Maybe you get some additional blowout run against Miami if the Phoenix were to blow out Miami, and that could definitely happen. But it's like you said, we're going to have to chase with some value tomorrow, and Craig could definitely be an option.
See, Torrey Craig was always like the original PJ Tucker to me. Like I was rostering like in Milwaukee, or I mean, who was Torrey Craig? Denver. It was Denver that he played with that I was rostering him actually like on purpose. Rostered Torrey Craig a couple times. Those were good times. Anywho, going to the top end of small forward over on DK. Jimmy Butler, 9,300 up there. As you said, Kawhi Leonard's out. Jaylen Brown, 7,800 up against Portland. That's going to be a spot I expect to be pretty popular. Somebody plays high 30s minutes. Pretty decent point per minute guy. Jaylen Brown, 7,800 and a fantastic matchup. Yeah, that'll be nifty. 7,100 is going to be tough to get to for OG on this slate over on DK. And then Kyle Kuzma, 6,800. If he plays against Charlotte, 35 minutes of him. He's just been really, really bad and kind of a tough guy to roster in a lot of spots, but I don't know. Let's put Bogdan Bogdanovic, your boy, up there who just played 41 minutes and put a 48.25. Is he rosterable at 6,800 tomorrow?
Yeah, he is. He's really good, and he's going to find a way to get to 15, 20 shots with Trae Young on the floor, it could definitely happen. He is option number 2 on the offense now. So he's showing out, and rightfully so. I don't think he's a bad play whatsoever. And you can play both the Bogdanoviches tomorrow, and they're both in play. How fun is that?
We can go Trent. Who were the other guys that we were going to do? We were going to do like a Russell.
McDaniels and
McDaniels. Oh, these are
Porter
good times.
Porter Jr.
Could have done it today. Don't know why you would have, but Michael Porter Jr. I liked a lot earlier today. He was popping up a bunch for me, and then Jamal Murray's in.
That's what news can do to you.
Oh, you can continue talking about small forward. Nobody cares about my takes. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, the small forward spot. Spending up for Jaylen Brown against this Portland team on FanDuel makes like a ton of sense. I think I prefer that instead of the $9,400 Butler price tag. OG Anunoby has been impressive of late. I know has been had a couple of disappointing games in a row, but there's a stretch where he was very, very good for us. Spending down in the mid-range, guys like Miles Bridges, who decapitated Clint Capella the other night. What
the greatest dunk of all time.
In-game dunk.
I've never seen a better in-game dunk in my life.
And the thing is, it puts Paul George's in-game dunk on Isaiah Stewart to shame, which was very impressive. Any other night, Paul George's dunk is an amazing dunk. But Miles Bridges, the way he cocked it back and just threw it down, it was quite the scene. Miles Bridges for sure has some bunnies in those legs. So
it's outrageous. Also, the shot fake, like guy goes by him, you could just see Clint Capella. Clint Capella didn't even like commit to the jump. He like committed a little, but then it was like, oh God. And the wind up was something else. It was incredible. That's all. Continuing on.
Definitely.
How about a $5,700 KCP over on FanDuel at small forward? How does that sound?
He hasn't been priced like that since he was in Detroit. So
he wasn't priced like that in Detroit.
There were some days he was priced up like that in Detroit.
That's true. Sure. He was kind of the alpha there for a little bit, which is crazy to say.
Yeah. He definitely was the head honch. Second kind dog over there.
Okay.
Second dog behind Tobias Harris over there for a little bit.
He played with Drummond a little bit too. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Continuing on.
Small forward is tough tomorrow. Really hard to spend down. Really hard. Carmelo Anthony is going to be in play at $4,400. That's how ugly the slate is. He's not getting much minutes, but damn, this small forward slate sucks on FanDuel just because of how.
Hey, on FanDuel, just go to my boy Nicholas Batum at 4,900. He was in my winning lineup over on DK on Sunday. So I don't mind Nicholas Batum. If you're going to get no Kawhi Leonard, I think people didn't roster him because he wasn't starting, and I really don't care because he's going to play around 20, 30 minutes, I think, anyway. In some of these spots, they really like him. Also, somebody that you're not even expecting to have to score. He knocked down some threes, really got there on DK, knocked down a couple threes, and that certainly helped. Got really close to the double-double as well. But 4,900, I think, for him at 31 minutes, he played really good against Detroit. I kind of look to maybe make him a piece of what I do tomorrow again, too, so long as ownership isn't crazy, because it could definitely come up after that performance.
No, for sure. Those are all strong points. Over there on DraftKings small forward spot, Marcus Morris definitely stands out. Only 5K, also has power forward eligibility. Mikal Bridges would be a pure tournament pivot. Other than that, spending up for Jaylen Brown, I really like at $7,800 on DraftKings. Great pricing on both sides the way things stand right now. Really tough to have any standout value. So it's going to be a fun tournament slate to pick and choose our spots.
Yeah, definitely. Jason Tatum, pick him in your lineups against Portland, 9,200. Over on FanDuel, top end there. Anthony Davis out. Domantas Sabonis, 9,000. Somebody who kind of gets out of the gate hot every single night. Like, just comes out, you think he's going to annihilate the slate. In the last two, he's been faded out to 32 and 29 minutes, 45 and 50 and a half FanDuel points. Still very rosterable at 9K. Pascal Siakam up against Atlanta. We saw him play 35 minutes after the 1 day off, 27 and a half FanDuel points. That's not getting it done. PJ Washington, it's got him as probable. So I think 6,100 for him might get some people off there. I still think that there's something to be said about some upside there. Jalen McDaniels, I think at 100 less, I mean, that would be crazy to have a priority. Do you prioritize PJ Washington or Jalen McDaniels there? And then just talk about the top end of power forward.
Yeah, so top end of power forward, you brought up Tatum, who I really like. Was amazing the other night. Really strong finish for some best ball teams for me by Jason Tatum with that performance. But man, it's going to be tough to go to guys like PJ Washington and McDaniels with Marcus Morris still kind of underpriced at $5,400 with the role that it presented to him with no Kawhi Leonard. But they're great tournament pivots off of him. Other guys, we'll have to see what Darius Bazley's minutes is going to look like. He played 36 last time off the bench, and with that shorthanded OKC team, he's going to be taking a ton of shots for that team. So I don't mind Darius Bazley whatsoever at that price tag. I prefer both Morris and Bazley off of McDaniels in Washington. But don't get me wrong, both of those guys could be really good. But I feel like we're at their peaks in terms of pricing and performance. So that will be tough to go there. Over there on DraftKings, Tatum definitely in play, $9,200. No issues there. Marcus Morris, like we said, 5K, going to be really popular in a matchup versus Indiana. McDaniels is only $4,300 over there on Charlotte. So that's quite a big difference. He's playing 29 minutes. He did leave part of the game last time for an eye injury. So I think we can go back to McDaniels over there on DraftKings. And that's really about it. You can mix and match with Crowder and Royce O'Neal and Nicholas Batum. All make for a fun $4,400, $4,500 pricing mix and match on the power forward position over there tomorrow.
FanDuel, $5,500. Tony Bradley, revenge spot. How about that? You've got no Pokashevsky, no Isaiah Roby. It's going to be Baisley, Bradley, and Moses Brown splitting minutes. For whatever reason, Moses Brown really isn't getting any minutes extended. Only played 19 against Philly. Guess 31 and 27, Cleveland and Charlotte there. But like looking at Baisley, who played 35 minutes right out of the gate, coming back. It's like, welcome back, Baisley. Here you are. And then Tony Bradley, 5,500. I don't know. Just something to think about if you're trying to get different in a tournament, because as you said, pricing's pretty darn good. I'm getting down to this bottom end. I mean, Doug McDermott, but he doesn't really get extended past 21, 22 minutes here of late. So that's going to be tough. I'm curious what you think. Kem Birch ended up playing, 17 minutes on the 11th? Okay, so he's not going to be in play. Never mind on that. Anybody else you want to touch base with before we round it out here at center?
No, we should hop on over to center.
All right, heading over there on the top end on DraftKings. You've got Davis out, Sabonis, Siakam, power forward eligible there. So Capella is your first true listed center at 8,500 there. It's a nice little streak right here in the middle. Clint Capella, Bam Adebayo getting Phoenix, played 35 minutes, 31.75. I'm still expecting some of those prices to come down, but I guess now no Oladipo here for the foreseeable future. I didn't see what happened necessarily with that other than what happened?
Another leg injury.
Oh, no. His knee again?
I don't know, but he's going to be out for a few weeks, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's had knee troubles forever, so that's a bummer. Let me see. Yeah, knee, of course. There we are. What a poor guy. Anyway, Rudy Gobert, 8K up against OKC. Gotta like that when you're getting a Moses Brown, Isaiah Roby, Tony Bradley spot. And then Chris Boucher, 6,900, who ended up redeeming himself a little bit yesterday with the 44.5, coming off of the Cleveland game where he was super popular. 25.5 complete dud for everybody. I don't know how much you had that night, but I'm guessing it was more than the field, because that's generally what you do with Chris Boucher. Talk to me about the top end of center.
So yeah, the other night I didn't have much. I felt
you're such a god. Oh my god, our boy, you didn't have any on his chalk night. I guess that's what makes you you.
No, I was with the field or just under the field. I'm saying the game after that I didn't have any.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. There was other centers who stood out to me.
I mean, it's not like he broke the slate at 44.5.
He was close to it at one point, but the center spot tomorrow, it's not as fun as it was today. It's going to be tough to really like a bunch of guys on this. Paying up for guys over there on FanDuel. I really like going to Gobert at 8K versus Oklahoma City. I think that's a fine option. Drummond versus Charlotte. This Drummond played 25 minutes, was very disappointing, and they ended up getting blown out by the Knicks. On a back-to-back against Charlotte, I think we can still go to a 7K Drummond and potentially ride him until he's going to play 30 minutes. And then Zubac is in play at $5,300. I like that quite a bit against Indiana, so no issues there. And Robert Williams at 6K is still in play. Definitely don't have any issues going to Bob Williams at that price tag over there on FanDuel. Over there on DK, the center spot is going to be tough to move off of guys like Gobert at $8,000, and spending down for 6-7 Drummond makes a ton of sense, and Ivica Zubac 5,200. Pricing is well done on both sides. It's if you can hear it in my voice, I'm like, damn, there's not much value. So it's a fun mix and match slate. Maybe there's going to be a ton of news that opens up for it, because some teams are on a back-to-back. But guys like even Nurkic are in play on a minutes limit against Boston. So we can it'll be a fun center spot for sure. And do you have any interest in any Enes Kanter playing his former team against Boston?
I was thinking about it. I mean, Nurk is going to be in there. So you've got Nurk at 5,300. Everybody I think knows my golf course story by now, how I had 0 Enes Kanter on Enes Kanter eruption 30 rebound night, which is a huge bummer. I couldn't make any swaps because I was out in the wilderness hitting a white ball around a field. And so I completely missed out on 70 points on DraftKings of a 24 and 30 line for Enes Kanter. I think I'll have a little bit against Boston. Why not? We just see those fantasy. I mean, his rates. It's just him and Nurk splitting minutes. Basically, played 37 minutes against Detroit, but Nurk was out for that game, correct? So that isn't going to be the case tomorrow. Might be tough to get to, But I don't know. Looking down this bottom end, you're right. I mean, pricing is just so good. I think Tony Bradley at 4K is going to actually be popular. That's kind of my guess. 4K Tony Bradley over on DK. With the plethora of injuries that they have in the front court. Baisley coming in, getting back out there is one thing, but still will definitely think I'll have some 4K Tony Bradley. But anybody else for you before we round it out?
No, I think it's a fun 6-game slate, a little smaller slate than we've seen over the past few days. So it seems like a pick and choose your tournament spots. So obviously we're taking a look at things very early, less than 24 hours to go, but it's not much value the way things stand. So it'll be a fun slate for us to have fun with in tournaments for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome one. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on the way out over here on YouTube if you're watching us there. Otherwise, leave a 5-star review for us. Get yourself entered. If you put your email address in along with that, you can get entered. We do a weekly drawing for an Awesemo for a month of Awesemo Plus. So check that out. Yes, Rayen Pack?
Yeah, no, definitely check that out. And good luck, everyone, on Tuesday's slate. The price will still remain big, so a lot of money to be won.
He's Ryan. I'm Eric. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Good luck, gamers.